In this example, we're going to look at the language and notation of exponents. So notice there are 4 columns: symbolic form, expanded form, factor language, and evaluating, or writing one numeric answer. There are also examples. You're given one of these different forms in each one for you to reference. So first we have our symbolic form. In words we say this is 6 squared, and we'd write this as 6 times 6. Now remember the multiplication symbol. You'll use the asterisk, which is Shift 8 on your keyboard. And if you click this button Preview, it will show you a form that looks like this. So whenever you have a chance, click Preview so you can make sure that your answer checks. So factor language, this is 2 factors of 6. 2 factors of 6. And to evaluate, we'll multiply 6 times 6, which is 36. In the second one, we're given the expanded form. Okay, so we have here 2 factors of -6. So to write that in symbolic form, we would need to put the -6 in parentheses and then put the squared sign outside and raised above the parentheses. So notice we have one down here, and we'll see another case where we're going to have an opposite sign on the outside. Here we could think of this as the opposite of 6 squared, but lots of times we just use the opposite when we have an extra one. So here we would write this as 2 factors of -6. And notice if we multiply this, multiply the absolute values, which is 36, and a negative times a negative is also positive. Okay, so whenever you square a positive or a negative number, your result will be positive. Now here we have the opposite of 2 factors of 6. Okay, so let's write this in the expanded form first. So we're going to have the opposite of 2 factors of 6. Okay, so comparing this to the other ones, notice we're not taking 2 factors of -6. We're going to take the opposite of the product of 2 factors of 6. And the way we write this symbolically is -6 squared. Okay, or we say the opposite of 6 squared. Now the reason we're saying the opposite, even though it's okay to say -6 squared, looking at these you would say them both as -6 squared, but if you couldn't see the parentheses, you wouldn't know the difference. But this one is going to be different from the last one, because if you think of this as -6 times 6, well, there's 2 factors of 6, but only one negative sign, so this result is -36. And finally, we have the opposite of -6 squared. So we'll have an opposite sign, and then -6 times -6. Okay, so we can write the opposite of 2 factors of -6. Okay. So notice this would just be the opposite of this expression up here. Okay, so -6 times -6 is +36, and its opposite is -36.